One of the problems of a culture that you grow up in is that, and particularly for Westerners, because Western culture is right now the dominant world culture, we have a tendency to believe that this is a universal characteristic of human behavior. And we forget it's an acquired cultural attitude. And so mind training practices which allow you to get ever more refined in observing your own mind allows you to recognize that there are certain things that we ourselves bring into our interaction and the attitude to the world. So I think that in that respect that's helpful. The other one is the emphasis on compassion in mind training practices really help bring out that social dimension of our identity, which is less emphasized in the Western culture. I'm a great admirer of Western emphasis on autonomy, because it's an interesting, it's difficult to articulate, but if you compare societies, okay? As a society, the idea of individual autonomy and respect for the individual, which is enshrined in the whole ideal of liberal democracy, is a very powerful concept. And in some sense, it's almost a deeply spiritual concept, because that's the idea behind the idea of universal human rights, which is that, in a sense, human society has been struggling for a long time between how to balance between the need and rights of the collective versus the need and rights of the individual. And the articulation of the human rights concept and the individual freedom really has finally resolved that balance in a way where the society says, okay, our default position is that we will trust the individual. And individuals will have rights by virtue of being human beings. And those rights are so sacrosanct that even the collective, the state, has no rights to infringe those unless under special circumstances like someone else's harm or well-being is involved. Then, of course, you're talking about law and security. That has created a society where individuals feel safe, respected, and feel a sense of freedom and empowerment. And in that sense, as a society, it's an amazing concept. And this is one of the reasons why Western society has been very successful as a society. But the flip side of that is at the personal, individual level, it has a tendency to make you feel less connected with your fellow human beings. And the psychological cost of that is you become more and more alienated and lonely. So then in an ideal world, you would want both. You would want that society structured around this, kind of a sanctity of the individual, yet at the same time have something that would cushion so that it doesn't lead to that kind of loneliness and alienation. And this is why Buddhism is increasingly becoming so popular in the West, because in some sense it caters to that need. And particularly the teachings of mindfulness and compassion are becoming, it resonates.
Lo